Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. I thought I could go around the yard and show you some of the daffodils and tulips that we've planted over the past couple years. A lot of it is in bloom right now and it is looking really pretty. It's such a welcome sign of spring and I'm excited to show it to you. This bed is in the front of my house along my sidewalk, and I try to put different shades of pink tulips in here. I also have some pink hyacinth, and there's a few rogue yellow daffodils in here that every year I say I'm going to take them out, but it looks like every year they naturalize a little bit more and more. I don't have anything against the yellow daffodils, I just wanted this to be a pink bed, so maybe this will be the year that I can relocate those daffodils to another spot. I can't recall all the names of the different tulips that I have planted in here. I know that I have the apple blossom mix in here. I have Avaron, there's Menton, Pink Cubed I believe is in here as well. So I've been planting quite a few bulbs in here every year, and I noticed this year that I either overmulched. Hi kitty. I either overmulched in some of the areas and it stunted the growth of some of the tulips, or it's just kind of how tulips go. They might come back really strong the spring right after you plant them, and then in subsequent years they get a little bit weaker until they finally stop producing. That could be the case too. I didn't plant quite as many in this bed in the fall. So this fall I'll add a few more to the little spots where I have holes. My plan this year is to take some plant labels and just stick them in the ground so that I know where I'd like to plant them. In the past I thought I would take pictures and that would tell me where I should plant some more daffodils and tulips, and that didn't really work. So this year I will go the route of sticking little plant labels in the ground. I know it's not going to look real pretty, but it'll look pretty in the spring. In the front of my house, I planted some bulbs in pots this year. I planted them in the pots in the fall, and I just stored them in my garage, brought them out fairly early in the spring and gave them a little extra water because they were under cover. I really like how this looks. I have the Delnashaugh daffodils in the front, and the tulips in the back are called Infinity. I wouldn't say they're my favorite, but I will pop them out in the landscape after the foliage has died back. So my hope is to do this again in the fall. I will probably do a little bit more daffodils. Maybe I'll bring in some bluebells. I think the color scheme I'm going to go for next year is blues and purples. So we'll see how that goes. I really like how it looks. It needs a little bit more, but I think it was a good start. So back here on the back of my garage, this is where I have a row or a hedge of hydrangeas. And before those start coming up too much more, we'll have a few of the purple hyacinths. It looks like the Ice Follies daffodils. They're about done. And I know there's the white cube tulips in here, but I also see a few pink ones in here. So I'm not quite sure where those came from or what they are, but that's perfect. Love that. This is another area where there's a few spots or a few holes where I could plant a few more daffodils or tulips. I'm leaning a little bit more towards daffodils just because there's such a wide variety of colors and what they look like, plus they naturalize. I really like that aspect, but I would say I really like tulips too. I don't know what to do. Okay, if we go a little bit further into my backyard, this bed is unfortunately just hiding where some of the septic structure is. In the middle is actually a large pot that I'll put annuals in, but in early spring we have the Mount Hood daffodils, and this is the white cubed mix of tulips. It's looking really good right now. This is probably the end of the early tulips, and the mid and late tulips have started to bud up. I was really happy with how this looked this year. It's probably not going to cover the septic poles, but I think it's getting as close as it can to doing that without being in the way of any maintenance that would need to be done. So this is really pretty. The tulips are really gorgeous back here. So this next flower bed is actually really far in the backyard. It's on the other side of the horse pen, and I'm calling it the triangle garden for now because it's in the shape of a triangle. And back here I planted, I believe it's pink charm daffodils last year. Although it almost looks like we have white lion back here too. I'm gonna have to check my notes and see if I had ordered any of the white lion as well. Back here we are really close to the woods. I won't be able to put any tulips back here at all just because we have a lot of deer that walk through. But this bed is shaping up. I would like to do a tour. I won't say I probably will do one, but this bed still needs mulch and weeding done. But it looks like almost everything has come back from last year, so that's a great thing to see in the spring. And in the far back is a new project. So there will hopefully be a video coming up about what I have going on back there. Over in the raised bed garden, I planted ice follies, I believe, daffodils on both sides of these obelisks. They must be really early blooming daffodils because they are done. They also get probably the most sun of any of them. So they were such a welcome sign a couple weeks ago, and they look like they have naturalized quite a bit. The hedges here are pretty thick. Perhaps next year, I'm kind of crossing my fingers, I might be able to dig some of the bulbs out and plant them in other locations. So I really like how this looks. Every time I walk back here, I did want to add more daffodils somewhere else in the garden, and I have to keep telling myself no, because there are already other plants that will be coming up. So I think I'm just going to have to leave it with these two little rows and enjoy all the daffodils that are blooming everywhere else. So this bed is over by our driveway. You can see the driveway's on the right, and then on the left is actually the sugar shack. So this bed is a little bit more woodland. It's quite a bit of shade back here. Right now I have mostly shade plants back here, but there's a possibility that a couple of these trees need to come down. So we'll have to see if that changes how much light is back here. I planted ice follies, daffodils back here a couple years ago, and it looks like they're starting to naturalize a little bit. I would not be mad at all if this entire bank was filled with daffodils someday. It's really nice to drive up and see a little bit of spring color. You can see the pulmonaria is also blooming in the front. The heucheras or coral bells are starting to pop out with their bright red leaves. And even the brunnera down at the end is blooming with its really pretty blue blossoms. So somewhere in here, last year we also planted crocus, which are done blooming, and we planted bluebells. I am not seeing the bluebells yet, so I'm going to keep an eye out for them. And I think we'll end the daffodil tulip tour over here along the driveway. I think you can see the driveway off to the left. Right along the woods here, I believe we planted 200 daffodils, and this was called the Top 40, so it was just a mix of a bunch of different daffodils. We planted a little bit of a zigzag pattern here, and you can definitely tell it's very spaced apart when you drive down the driveway, but my hope is that each of these little daffodils grows a clump of them, and pretty soon it's going to look like a hedge, and then hopefully it'll spill out, you know, a little bit further into the yard and further into the woods. I think it's going to look really neat in a few years. I probably will put more daffodils out here. I know Mom has a bunch at the farm that she kind of digs up every year just to make sure her areas are not overcrowded. So I can plop those over here. We saw that I had some ice follies back in the garden that I might be able to move. They'd probably come along the wood line somewhere. So I'm really excited about what this is going to look like. I did not pick any of these yet. There are a couple out here. They're almost done. A lot of the early ones are done, but there are a couple out here that are really pretty, and I don't have anything else like them yet. So I may end up picking a couple. So this is about the end of the daffodils. They'll probably start fizzling back later this week. And then I do have other beds with tulips in them that haven't even cracked what color they're going to be yet. So they'll probably be maybe later this week, which is exciting. It's nice to be done with one, but have another one kind of waiting in the wings to start blooming again. Usually after that, I have the peonies, which they don't look like they're anywhere close to being ready, or irises, which I have seen some of the iris spikes coming up out of the ground. So it'll be interesting to see if we have a little bit of a lull in between blooms, or if there's something else that I'm completely forgetting that is a spring bloomer. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you're able to get outside I hope it's nice wherever you are. If you like this video, please hit the like button below, and it would be even better if you would subscribe to our channel. We really do appreciate it, and we love making these videos. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.